Welcome to Food Talk, where we talk about food, fishing, farming, and all things East End. Today, my guests is Luchi Masliah and Steve Judelson, Amagansett Sea Salt, Good Food up in Mattituck, also known as the Empanada Lady. Welcome to Food Talk. Thank you so much for coming over and coming down.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Two of my favorite things, empanadas and sea salt. So, Luchi, let's just start with you. Tell us a little bit about how you came to the country from Uruguay, how you started Good Food, your relationship with empanadas.
Right. Well, let's see. I came to New York quite some years ago. Uruguay was a great place to grow up in, and it was fantastic. But it was, as a young adult, it was one of those places back then that you would feel like you were missing the world. So,
now the world wants to go to Uruguay.
Something like that is happening. But, I had lots of friends and family in New York, and I said, you know what, let's just pop on that plane and go. And
how old were you?
When I came, I was 25.
All right,
to
that's
stay.
good.
Yeah. So it was fantastic, and got off the plane and things started happening. I came with thinking that I was gonna go for my master's in psychology and this and that. I always had a love for food. Even when I was in Uruguay during college, I had my own little business, food business over there. I learned cooking. I don't have professional training in cooking. I learned it from my family. Grew up in a big environment, there was always food around 24 hours a day, lots of people, lots of cooking, foods from all over. And came to New York, and things started going in a different direction, and little that I know, next thing I'm moving out to Amagansett. And a friend of mine opened a seafood market there and a little restaurant, and we did that for a few years. And
What was the name of that?
The Amagansett Fish Company.
Oh yes, okay.
Yeah. So that was a lot of fun. Like any small business, it was a lot of work. It was crazy. So after 4 or 5 years, decided it's time to leave the food business again. Let's go do something else. Decided not to go back into New York and into the city, and got engaged doing. I'm always been a person of many trades and professions, so I started doing other things that were completely food and related. And after 20 years, for better or worse, I got that itch again.
It's a good itch.
Yeah, it was a good itch, and it actually started when all the farmers markets started happening out here. I would go and shop at the farmers market, and I said, what could I should be able to do something, to come. I said, this looks so good, so great, the bounty of the produce and the fruits and the fall. And I'm like, and at the time I was doing something else for work that didn't have me too excited. And I said, all right, so what can I bring to a farmer's market? And once again, that's when I said, empanadas.
Oh, that's great.
And I remember talking to my sister who is in Uruguay over the phone, and she's listening to me, and she says, have you gone mad? And I said, well, no, but it's great. It's a perfect, portable food and all that. And she says, do you remember how much work it takes to make empanadas by hand? And I said, yeah, but. And anyway, it turned out that she was partially right, I was partially right, and people embrace it. It's been a lot of fun, and that's how the little empanada story started.
So we're going to talk to Steve in a second, but since we have this cornucopia of empanadas, what flavors, what
we
types
have
of
here,
empanadas
yes.
did you bring?
Well, let's start with the dough. We make 3 different types of dough. The one you have on both ends of the board, it's a corn dough, and it's made half with corn flour and half with wheat flour.
Oh, wow.
And it gives it, the corn flour is the type that has been nixtamales. when they use the lime so it gives it a very particular flavor. It's really delicious. The darker flour, the darker crust is made with whole wheat flour, and then the other one, it's wheat flour with olive oil, and that is more of like a Spanish flavor. It goes really well with our fish empanada, and that happens to be bison. So today here on the show you have barbecue pulled pork with mangoes. You have bison that is made in like the Argentinian style. It has raisins and olives. It's quite delicious. Then we have the seasonal greens that has kale and chard and a little bit of manchego cheese and garlic. And then towards the very end is the southwestern chicken. It has jalapenos and tomatillos, so it each has its very distinctive flavor.
I'm really holding myself back just from getting after these. But Steve, before you put salt in your coffee, because I've seen the salt and the sugar, I go, Judelson's going to go for the salt to put in his coffee. You were in the ocean today, but you weren't swimming. You were checking the salt, the saline content?
Well, we did that last night. Last night, almost 6 or 7 days a week now. We're checking the water, seeing what's going on, doing some.
So, what are you checking for? Let's.
I'm curious about where the salinity is. It never really changes anywhere from 2.5% to almost 3% salinity. That's more just, it's interesting to me. But I'm checking to see what's going on with algae, what's the quantity of that, and then just for safety, just making sure what's not there. We're checking for heavy metals, we're checking for bacteria, which we never find in this part of the world.
That's
we
awesome.
travel about 10 miles. You start seeing stuff like that.
Back up the island?
Back up island. How our tides work, we just get these beautiful, clean, cold, deep water coming into the beaches on Amagansett. So this morning, as I did yesterday, as we did the day before, as we do at this time of year, 6 or 7 days a week, we're at the beach early in the morning. Each beach run will get about 100 gallons of water. I only did one this morning. The day before yesterday was 200 gallons. Probably will make up for today by getting 300 tomorrow.
So wait a minute. So when you go get this water, I'm thinking it's like you and Natalie with like buckets and how do you transport it?
You're pretty right. Although Natalie is not part. Natalie
Right.
doesn't do it. Natalie
She's
sometimes
smart.
will come in and say the waves are too high. You're not going in the water, and I'm going to go down to the beach to make sure you're not going into the water. We're doing it pretty much the same way that we started doing it 30 some odd years ago when I started first playing with salt, with a bucket wading into the water. 30 some odd years ago, we'd get one bucket maybe every 3 months just to kick it around. Now I'm stronger. I need more water. We're doing 2 at a time, but lots and lots and lots of trips, hauling 10 gallons at a time. We transfer it into big drums on the back of the vehicle on the beach.
So you drive on the beach.
We drive on the beach.
You got waders on? No?
Not anymore.
Right.
I will.
Because you're a tough guy, or
I'm a tough guy, and it's night. It's summertime.
Right,
I don't want to be in the waders.
Right.
I took off the waders middle of June,
Right.
and I'll probably still put them back on middle of October.
Right.
It's relatively fast to do it. I'm able to get about 100 gallons in about 20 minutes.
Awesome.
A pump is loud, is noisy. It disturbs the whole aesthetic of it.
So this is hand pulled from the ocean.
So this is hand pulled. At some point, we keep on talking about when do we need to change. The first year we were making salt commercially, we made about 600 pounds of salt. This year we're on target to make a little bit more than 5 tons of salt. We're still able to keep up with it this way. And it's a blast.
It's such a great product. And so you've got to tell, Luchi told her story. So how did you get involved in salt?
Well, like every young man growing up out here, you want to grow up to be a salt maker, isn't that the case?
Yeah, certainly a salt taster in my case.
I fell into this. I practiced law for about a dozen years in Manhattan, as did Natalie. We're a big firm, big New York City firm, corporate or transactional lawyers. I grew tired. I wanted to do something myself, and even then, salt making didn't pop into mind. I developed real estate in New York City and some of the suburbs. I built tall buildings. I built townhouses. I renovated townhouses. In some ways, we fell into this because of the recession. I just got myself out of a bad deal, bad real estate development, and I came back here just to have fun and not lose money anymore. I thought that might be a good thing to do for a little while, which worked great for a couple months until Natalie said, "You got to do something. Either you do something, or we get divorced, because sitting around is not the secret to a happy life or a happy marriage." And of being the optimistic person I was, I said, "Well, what should I do? I can't do anything more." She said, "Well, make salt. You've been doing this. People say it's good." So we spent about 1.5 years trying to figure out how to go from our small hobby salt making fun practice and how to scale that up. First, how to make salt. We had been making salt any which way I could think of. Boiling water, putting it in an oven, stainless steel, glass, ceramics, every different way. Lots and lots worked, lots and lots didn't, and very few really tasted good. And we finally figured out the one that made the best salt was also the hardest. Just doing it outdoors, not in a greenhouse, just open to the elements. With solar evaporating, and how do you then make a business out of that? So a lot of trial and error, a lot of failures. Fortunately, they weren't all that huge. A lot of recoveries, a lot of learning, and that's how we got into it.
What a great story. What a lot of people don't realize is the stark difference between table salt that you might find in a diner, and not only, let's say, kosher salt, but then what would you call this? A refined salt, or what would you, or a sea salt?
So, well, all salt at one point or another was a sea salt,
right?
And as it got refined, the table salt now becomes mostly sodium chloride.
Right.
While our sea salt has about 80 different compounds in it. In our mind, we have table salt, which is a very highly refined product. Kosher salt, which is also highly refined, but it's manufactured to have some different consistency and different size and some other different characteristics. And then the whole variety of of fancy salts or finishing salts, mined salts that come out of Pakistan, the Himalayas, come from underground, not too different than rock salts we'll use on the roads. To the world of really highly prized finishing salts, some of which are boiled, and some of which like ours, are just done by the sun.
So my salt experience was about 10, 11 years ago, and a chef had showed me, did a little taste test between table salt and kosher salt. Just, quick little thing, and the difference was stark. Later that week, I'm at Per Se, Tom Keller's restaurant. I used to work for him, and it occurred to me, I said, "I bet you Keller is doing something with salt, So I said to the waiter about midway through the meal, I said, "Well, what do you guys have for salt?" Well, they come out with a 9 squared tureen with Hawaiian, I'm going to get the names wrong, you're going to know these, like Hawaiian black lava salt,
Right.
a Hawaiian red salt, a Himalayan rock salt. So there was a black salt, a red salt, a pink salt. There might have been like one, white salt. And I had to try all of them. I completely burned my tongue, right? But it really, and I went out and bought, I still have the Hawaiian, I got the Hawaiian red and the black, I still have it.
Right.
But I was sold at that point. And so I will try to use a sea salt whenever I can in just finishing off a dish, because a lot of chefs will always use kosher salt just to finish off their dish, because just to remind people, salt brings flavor to food.
Exactly.
And a lot of chefs, your chefs should know this, but you need to taste your food, And it's really, we shouldn't worry about over-salting food because it's going to bring flavor to food. And your product is phenomenal. It's a great salt, and
Thank you.
I'm a fan. And my problem, which I've got you cornered now. So where does one find this salt in the off season? Because I went hunting, I couldn't find it.
Well, the easiest way is to hunt on your keyboard and find us on our website, or find us through a couple of the websites sell us, a couple of their online markets. Our website is probably the only site in which you can find the whole variety of salts we have, our pure salt, in about a dozen different flavored blends now. We also list retailers. We sell not only here in the Hamptons, but in the city and tri-state area and across the country.
I'm a running around with my head chopped off local person, and I say to myself, I've been to the IGA, I've been to King Kong, and I say to myself, I'm getting low on Amagansett Sea Salt. Where can I just dart by quick without doing the whole website? Is there a place that carries it year round? Does Marty's Deli, now it's got a different name, does Marty's Deli have it year round?
We don't sell to Marty's. We sell to in Amagansett, the Stewart Seafood. They're open year round. Cavanola's has us. Pretty much, our salt does not perform real well in supermarkets, and even our problem, if there is a problem, is a public awareness, is understanding. Most people think that salt is salt, and why am I going to go out and buy a brand I may not have heard of, or a brand that's more expensive? And they don't know or don't care to research it, and unfortunately a lot of the store owners don't want to put the investment in.
So let's have a public service announcement to our viewers and listeners, because we're on SoundCloud. So stop everything. Go to the website if need be, but find this sea salt and try it, because it will change your food. It'll change your meal.
Well, that's the beauty of
and stock
salt.
up now, because it's at all the farmers markets. It's at Springs Market. It's at Balsam's sells
the
it.
farm stands,
Right.
Balsam, up in Montauk, pretty much. When we first started this venture, we didn't know whether or not anyone would want to. I knew how to sell a $900,000 condo. I did not know how to sell a $9 jar of salt,
Right.
and even know whether anyone would buy it or not. I think we're beyond that, and we know that the product does work. But what's so amazing with salt is how it does, as you said, it elevates the flavor. It's not our intent to make your food salty.
Right.
I want to bring out the
You
flavors
don't
that's
need
in
much.
there.
You don't need much.
2 or 3 grains on a bite is ample.
Right.
When we were serving this chocolate the other night,
We had 1 grain.
yeah.
It was all. I mean, it was a small bite. It was like maybe a thumbnail. There was 1 grain. It was awesome.
And it's the combination of it. You see it on top of the food. I love
It looks beautiful.
The look of it.
Yeah.
The shape of it. It's not like a flat flake that's going to dissolve immediately. It's going to last on your food. So you see it in your mouth. You first feel it. Wonderful, wonderful texture. And then it's sort of like someone had described it as a Pop Rocks. That it just, in your teeth, it's a soft crunch. It pops out, and just there's an explosion of texture and flavor. And we're happy with it, and
Yeah.
I'm thrilled that you guys are as
I'm
well.
an evangelist for the product, no question. Let's just go back to Good Food Cafe. You've got some interesting smoothies on the menu.
We do.
And you're not doing dinner as of now, right? It's breakfast and lunch?
It's the store is open till like early evenings, like 6:30. So people will come for an early bite, if they don't feel like they want to have a full dinner. Also, we do a lot of takeaway. So people will come, in addition to the empanadas and the smoothies. It's very eclectic. We have some great sandwiches going on, and we make a lot of prepared foods. So.
And on these empanadas, is this the size that you're selling at the store, or do you make a larger empanada?
We sell this size at the store, and the way we sell these, the one nice thing about this little product is that we actually sell them frozen and unbaked. So people come, they buy the tray, and it goes right from the freezer on a baking sheet into the oven. No need to defrost, and it makes a great little appetizer.
I gotta make a trip to Mattituck.
And so that's a lot of fun. But we also we have them available ready to eat at the store, and it's a larger size. It's more of like a lunch serving. You know.
So I know you started out making them by hand. Are they still made by hand?
Absolutely.
It's okay if they're not. But wow.
Every single one of them.
So you've got like a little press because we see the little. Is that done with a fork?
They are pressed with a fork. Every single one of them.
This is a real deal, folks.
So yes, we have a bunch of people helping us out in the kitchen, and we laugh about it, we joke about it. We say, does it have the little belly? Did it come out flat? And I'm kind of known for being, I want every single one of them to look great.
And they do. They do.
All right, we're going to switch gears just a little bit.
That was easy.
And we're going to play Food Lovers Companion Roulette, everybody's favorite game. So the word of the day, stop cheating, Lucia. Mm-hmm. The word of the day is ficelle.
Ficelle.
Mm-hmm. What is ficelle?
Bread.
She got it.
How do I know that?
What kind of bread? This is unbelievable. By the way, we've had about 20 shows. I've been stumped once before,
Right.
which I gave her credit, which was the cheese from North Fork table. Got it.
Right.
North Forkers we get no more.
See?
No more North Fork people on this show.
I'm a transplant, though.
Still, you're up there. I mean, so it's a type of French bread loaf,
Yes.
similar to a baguette,
Right.
but much thinner.
And small, yeah. And
Like it's
yes.
the word ficelle literally means string in French. She got
Okay.
it. It's awesome.
Congratulations.
Good job.
Thank you.
All right, that wasn't easy. Always easy for her. So here's another thing that we do on the show. Mr. Judelson of Amagansett Sea Salt. 5 people that you would invite to dinner, dead or alive, whole history of the world. What do you got?
Well, to me, I'm not sure if it's the conversation that I'm looking for or it's the overall event and the fun. And to me, eating and dinner is preparing. So I'm looking at some kick-ass chefs and just fun people that I actually want to roll up my sleeves with. I'm going to start with our friends Daniel at 11 Madison, who we've been working with for 5 some odd years.
Lucky you.
It's going to taste good time
Right.
to work with them. Julia Child, who I just think, again, well, she could have manhandled anything in the kitchen, and I think just wonderful technique, wonderful ideas, and just to try to understand what was going through her mind when she started in a venture that no woman ever was in. Julia Child always goes to me hand in hand with Jacques Pepin. I'm going to throw Bruce Springsteen in there because I think that'll be just a fun
Little entertainment.
I have no idea whether or not the boss can cook, but it'll be
Right.
very entertaining. Gotta end it with something sweet. So our friend Miro from Untitled and Gramercy Tavern, fabulous pastry chef. He also, I know, does a lot of savory stuff, but I can't see anything going wrong with that. I can just see the 5 of us having a great time.
So you've got 4 culinary masters and Springsteen for the music.
Exactly. That I think would be the perfect. And it's a nice summer day, and we're doing this outside, by the way.
Okay, good. Now, Lucy, what about yourself? 5 people, dead or alive.
5
History of the
people.
world.
Okay. Well, I would probably say, mine would be a combination of company and food people. I mean, I would think, for once, I think, I would love to be able to have my father for dinner. It would be so great. I miss him so much, and he was always a great dinner companion. So that would be from the conversational point of view. I also would like to have the. I don't know, I hope I'm okay saying, I would love to have the entire Obama family for dinner. I think it would be a kick. And something tells
So you're going
me.
to count them as one. Cheater. She wins the roulette, and now she's.
I like the groups.
Yeah,
when
yeah,
I
yeah.
drink,
Okay.
I
No,
like
that's
groups
good.
of people.
All right. I like you're
in terms of culinary, I don't really know any specific Japanese chef, but I would love to have a Japanese. I'm dying to learn how to make sushi and how to make rolls, and I love Japanese food, and it would be so great and to teach me more and learn, cooking with someone who knows what they are doing.
So we'll get Masahiro from Nobu.
Oh, that would be fantastic.
Okay, all right.
That would be so much
you got
fun.
2 left.
So it's funny you mentioned the musical because I said, how would it be to have dinner with the Rolling Stones? So, that would be something.
So you got the Stones, the Obama. She's really taking some liberties.
I would really like to know what do they like to eat?
Right.
How do they?
Right.
if you sometimes wonder what do they eat? What do they do? I think that would be really, really fun. And in terms of something more local, I think I would like to have like the entire kitchen crew of La Fondita, to make tortillas together. I think that would be a lot of fun.
That's going to be a big.
How do we do this?
That's really good. I like that. Okay, so now we've waited long enough. We got to get after these empanadas. So I'm going to use my hands. Of course, and So,
empanadas is
2,
that's the way you do it.
4. Click up.
So the last one, that was the flour one, right?
This is the flour with the olive oil, and that's
Okay.
the bison. This is the corn dough that has the pork and chicken, and then the other one is the one with
Which one is the one with the bison?
the lighter one,
Okay.
the very lighter.
So, would you like some chimichurri?
I would love some, thank you.
We're just going to go like that. You have a fork, you don't have to use it.
I wasn't planning to.
Good.
Yeah.
And tell us about this chimichurri again. We were talking about it.
Yes, before
the-
the chimichurri, it's a little bit of my own version that I came up with in order to satisfy. When I started making the empanadas and going to the markets, people said, "Oh, do you have a sauce?" And I do know that in the States, people like their sauces. You have to have always a dipping sauce. And first I used to say, "Oh, you don't need one because the filling should be so flavorful."
Right.
And then I finally gave in and says, "Okay, I'm gonna make you a sauce." And that's how it needed to be more of a dipping sauce, and it has all these wonderful fresh herbs and a little bit of acidity and the olive oil. So I think it complements the empanada well.
I'm glad you made the sauce. It's delicious.
Thank you.
And
Thank
of course,
you.
I'm going to, because we're winding down, but I can't resist.
Put a little bit of the salt.
Because we've
I
got
should
the
try
salt
that.
right here. Wow. You really just need a grain.
1, 2, 3 grains.
Which one is this one again, Luchi?
That is the seasonal greens. It's all vegetarian. It has kale and Swiss chard.
So, I want to thank you both for coming.
Thank you.
Over and down. What a great show. If you got to get to the North Fork, get to Good Food Cafe, say hello to Luchi, have an empanada, and we search, find, get Amagansett Sea Salt, courtesy of Steve Judelson and his wife Natalie. And to you, I say, cógelo suave, pero cógelo, take it easy, but take it. And thanks for a great show.
Thank
Wow.
you.
So now we get
Thank
to
you.
eat. Right.